All right, everybody, what's going on? It's JP Morgan back with another video. I wanted to cover CCIV and potential Lucid Motors um, merge, the rumors that have been coming out recently about Lucid Motors and CCIV potentially merging. Obviously, this past week, if you've been watching CCIV, the ticker, we opened quite low. It's up about 70% this past week. We hit a high of about $20 this morning, I believe, on the 14th of January, whenever it is you're seeing this video. It hit a high of $20 and pulled back quite a bit to the $17 region. I think we dropped back into the 16s for a bit, but we're chilling right now at the $17.20 region. I think when the market closed is where we're at right now. But I wanted to address the potential rumors and what I think about it. Obviously, we've seen a lot of hype regarding the rumors, the merger talks, the potential partnership with these two companies. Lucid Motors has made it clear that they want to go public, that they are looking to be publicly traded, and the quicker route would be to go through a SPAC at SPAC, um, and that company that they're talking to right now is Churchill Capital, and that's where right now the talks are going to. Now, there's by no means anything in this article. It was made yesterday, but none of this guarantees a merge. But this is why people feel like there will be a merge because everything is pointing to it. Um, and there's a few valid points that are brought out, some serious circumstantial evidence that does make sense in regards to why a merge with these two companies could happen. First off, um, as this company mentioned, Lucid Motors now has job vacancies for SEC reporting manager, director of investor relations, and analyst investor relations. With these job titles, they're obviously going to be a public company, but specifically SEC reporting manager, you don't need that job position unless you're looking to go public with a company and work through the SEC. And so that is a very important point to take note of because they're obviously looking to move fairly quickly. It would just make sense that they are going this route. And so that's the first one, the job titles that they're looking for. The next bit, obviously, that they're talking about is this past uh, week, there was a fireside chat. And Mr. Klein, if you don't know who Mr. Klein is, he is the CEO of Churchill Capital. And so Mr. Klein was asked a question about the potential merger with Lucid Motors, Lucid Air. And so instead of denying the fact that there is a merger or that there are talks in the works, um, he just refused to comment. And that means a lot to people who are looking at this as just a rumor, because from a rumor standpoint, a lot of times companies will shut down any potential rumors for the sake of the investors. Because think about it like this: if this past week CCIV is running up and Mr. Klein sees it, Michael Klein sees his stock running up 70% this past week, and then it turns out that the merger news was just false, it was a false alarm. People bought at the highs this morning of $20 and there was no chance of recovery. The merger fell through. There was no real business dealings with these two companies. That would obviously create a lot of bag holders and a lot of upset investors. That wouldn't make people happy because he allowed this to go on. So instead of denying it, which would make sense for his sake, he didn't comment. Now, it's important that he didn't comment because it's not that he just chose not to, because if there is potential business dealings in the background, as per SEC rules, he cannot confirm a merger until there has been a letter of intent, LOI, filed with the SEC. So until it's confirmed by this letter of intent and it's been officially filed, he can't speak on it. That's how this stuff works. And so that means a lot. That is not just he chose not to respond. People are using that, and it makes sense. It makes sense that this is why people would be pretty bullish on CCIV, Lucid Motors merge here. And so um, those are a few reasons, but if you look here in the Lucid Motors board of directors, you have Andrew Liveris. I think that's how you say his last name, Liveris, whatever it is. You have Andrew here. He's the chairman of Lucid board of directors. And so that's important because if you go here to Churchill Capital's team and operating partners, uh, one of the operating partners is again Andrew. He's an operating partner, and it gives a little bit of a bio here about his experience, his work, history, and so it's very important to see that there are quite a few um, pieces of evidence that are pointing to this potential merger happening. Now, obviously, Lucid Motors would look to make this happen as soon as possible, because for those who don't know, Lucid Motors is looking to make their first deliveries in the next couple of months, the spring of 2021. And so, obviously, if they're starting the production of cars and deliveries, they want to get the process moving as quickly as possible. Now, this is interesting because this stock was mentioned by Jim Cramer um, on his show, and he did agree that it was speculative, but he thinks it's a good play. Now, this morning, some articles had come out on Seeking Alpha, and they kind of bashed uh, the deal and said why it might not happen. But again, all they did was mention the circumstantial evidence that we have, and they said that it's in talks, and that it doesn't necessarily prove that there is a merger, which isn't anything anybody didn't know already. But of course, the noobs will get scared. CNBC's fear mongering tactics worked. The price plummeted from $20 highs this morning and came back right now. I believe we're sitting, this is current close price, 1736 is where we closed, that market closed. And so I think it dropped a bit after hours to $17.20. Yeah, 22 cents is where we're at right now after hours. So tomorrow I do think we could see a run up. I do think that it is in their best interest if there is a merger to announce it fairly quickly. Just based on patterns, things like this are announced on Fridays or Sundays, and so we could be looking at the potential news if this does fall through. Again, this would create a lot of bag holders. Personally, I am in some calls um, spanning through February to March. I think they're March 15th calls and February 15th calls and March 2nd calls. That is where I'm at right now. And I do think if this merger happens, we could see some serious pump because with just the rumor alone, CCIV is up 70% this week. And so obviously, we're not going to let the CNBC fear mongering tactics scare us. I would hope it doesn't affect anybody else with their holdings. But this is what we're looking at right now, and I just wanted to give my viewpoint. I do think the merger will happen. Everything is pointing to it, but I felt I needed to make this video because this is my most recent position I've taken in the stock market right here, and I do think we could pump pretty heavily. So, with all that being said, check out CCIV. Keep posted with the news on the Lucid Motors. If there are any updates, if there are any denial of these rumors, or if any official news has been released, I'll be sure to let everybody know first in Telegram in my chat. I'll let people know there first, and then I'll come to YouTube with a video about that. But with all that being said, I'm going to sign off for the night and have a good night.